Kiddies, we're back. This is Jim Lowenstern. I'm the host, along with my co-host, Larry Laufer. This is the Exponential Files, not to be confused with Exponential Files. It is the Exponential Files. We are very honored to have as our guest today on the Exponential Files, Kurt Uhlir, who is the VP of Marketing and Operations at eXp Realty. And we're going to talk about some really cool stuff today. Welcome, Larry. Welcome, Kurt.
Hey, thanks for having me, both of you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
So let's dig right into the new stuff, and then we'll get back to the old stuff. The new stuff is My Link, My Lead. And the obvious question is, Kurt, what is it?
Great question. I'll try to explain it as concisely as I can, but it is new technology to real estate. And I just say that so that if anybody's listening, they go, what exactly does that mean? This is new. And so that's part of what we're working through right now. It's a patent pending technology that our team has created for eXp, proprietary to eXp, that allows individual agents to share real estate content and listings anywhere across the United States, and make sure that those leads come back to you as individual agents. And so you have people moving outside of, I'm in Georgia right now, people are moving outside of the state all of the time. Very small percentage of those people actually end up raising their hand and go, hey, I'm moving to New Jersey, I'm moving to New York or Maryland. When not yet, I might have great connections to be able to make that. And so that we've kind of created something that's allows the brokerage site to work in a way so that Jim and Larry could have those leads themselves.
Okay, directly to us and not to our brokerage or not to anybody else.
Right.
Only us. And it's only, they're only talking directly to us. They're not, like Op City, you're talking to one of many or some of these others.
Yeah, that's a great kind of question about the distinction. So yes, if when you're sharing out the brokerage website, the leads that come in, the visitors that come through, we're able to identify who brought those leads to the brokerage site, and then we choose to hand those leads back to you as individual agents for you to work the leads where you usually have a relationship with those people already.
So I'm guessing this is okay. So someone clicks on exprealty.com. That's what we're talking about. Some kind of communication with the client or prospect with that website, and maybe through artificial intelligence or cookies. This is for you to explain, Kurt, because I don't understand it. How does eXp Realty know that it's Jim Lowenstern's lead and not Larry Laufer's lead, for example?
Great question. Through a variety of different ways, some of those that you mentioned and others. And so we're able to identify any of those visitors that come through and then be able to hand those back, while making sure at the brokerage level, we're able to consider things like regulatory and license portability as well. And so those leads belong to you, but can we display that Larry's the one who actually recommended the person? Well, that may depend on how different states and regions, especially countries in the world, allow for a license reciprocity to take place. And so we've created this engine behind the scenes that both tracks those visitors to you as an individual agent, and also a regulatory compliance to make sure that everybody, both from a data perspective and a regulatory perspective, is taken care of.
Okay, maybe this is something that I'm not aware of, but I was of the understanding that any real estate agent anywhere in the world could legally pay any other real estate agent anywhere in the world a referral fee. This is different than a commission.
Yeah.
And that referral fee coming through eXp Realty with what's it called? My Link?
My Link, My Lead.
My Link, My Lead. It is the same thing, but you're saying maybe there's some areas where that's not allowed?
Well, you got to the, I think you picked it up after there's a lead, after there's a client that comes through. And so what I'm talking about is, hey, when Larry chooses to share I mentioned again, I'm in Georgia. When Larry chooses to share a search for luxury condos in Roswell, Georgia, or Atlanta, Georgia, that's different from now.
Right.
What do you do when somebody says, hey, I have a question for an agent, and that text message or that information goes to Larry? Then at that point, what you just said makes sense about where, hey, Larry can choose to refer that to whatever agent he would choose to, because it's his client. But prior to that, when you're sharing that information, that doesn't exist anywhere else in real estate, because you're really limited based on geography for where you're a member of a member of the MLS. And we still abide by that. This is the brokerage website just acting on your behalf.
Okay. So was there a pain point? I mean, where did this idea come from? You know, what problem is it solving?
Well, a number of different places. So one of the things is having spoken to thousands of EXP agents one-on-one is hearing this, hey, can I have every MLS on my individual KV Core website? And the answer is no, I can't do that as an individual.
Well, you can now.
Well, it's not your site, it's the brokerage website with this. And so,
well, we're building it. Our Castles Luxury team,
right.
castlesluxury.com, is now integrating MLSs.
Yeah.
I just have to mention it can be done.
Yeah, but it's a lot of effort. You have to join those MLSs and very much so. And it's it's cost prohibitive or time prohibitive for most agents. I know another EXP agent in Florida that's been using Showcase IDX to build his own website. He's trying to create a portal for the state of Florida. And so he's joining dozens of MLSs to start to be able to do that. For the average agent, they're not able to do that. So that was one of the things that I heard. But the other piece was, we heard from agents where I'd ask them, you know, I want to know exactly how your business is different than somebody else's business. I mean, an icon agent or a team lead is very different than a part-time agent that does 5 to 10 transactions a year. But in both cases, I'd ask, how do you know when a client left your service area? And it was very rarely did I hear somebody go, well, the client raised their hand. I feel like 100% of my clients raise my hand and say, hey, I'm leaving Georgia, and can you refer me to another agent? That almost never happened. What I heard was instead agents say, I find out 2 years later when the client either unsubscribed for an email or they reply back to an email saying, hey, can you unsubscribe me? And then you call them and go, like, Jim, why'd you unsubscribe? Like, I thought we loved each other here. Like, we worked well together. And only then does the client say, well, I moved from Georgia and I moved to Tennessee or New York or Colorado.
It's worse than that, Kurt. That's when the agent finds out that another agent sold the house that agent sold them because they weren't in touch for 20 years.
So that scenario, both, you know, you lost the opportunity for referral, but you also lost the listing opportunity. There is how I heard that story so many times from hundreds and probably thousands of agents. And I was like, well, what if there was a way to be able to help that? And so that was some of the discussions that we had. And it's not just me. I'm one of the inventors on the patent application that's been filed, but we have people on our team like Scott Bull. Scott worked 20 plus years at CoStar. He's been in real estate, building real estate technology for agents and within other parts of the industry for over 20 years. And so he was one of the people and the inventors and some of the ideas that came to what is now known as MyLink, MyLead.
Yeah, and that's an important point. I was actually on a mastermind today, and one of the slides was Anywhere, which is like Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, et cetera, Compass, and Remax. And they showed if you invested $100,000 in those companies 5 years ago, your money is now worth, I think with Compass, it was worth like 16,000, and Remax, it was like 30, and maybe it was 20 with Anywhere. And the same 100,000 5 years ago with the XP is now worth 250,000, $250,000. So a lot of it has to do with the fact, and I mean, this is all news to me. I mean, I'm looking at your email, Kurt, and it's Showcase IDX, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You know, you're with the XP, you're marketing VP and all that good stuff. But here's another company I mean, we've got Verbella for metaverse software and all the success suites and Zoocasa and you name it. And like last month, I got a 20% bonus with my revenue share. And I guess part of it might be IDX, Showcase IDX, that's feeding this profit engine. Is that
I mean,
the case? Is it a profitable company?
It is a profitable company, but it really runs firewall. And while yes, I do still have a Showcase IDX email, I also do have an exprealty.net staff email as well there. But
Okay.
so I mean, 99.5% of what my main team does every day is EXP proprietary. Tiffany Saucy on our team now, Kepler, she runs what really I kind of consider an external company called Showcase IDX that still serves hundreds, actually thousands of agents that are not EXP, and it's really firewalled separately with separate code that Tiffany runs, the full P&L for that, but still feeds in, and is how myself, Scott Lockhart, and a few others came to EXP from, you mentioned Verbella and Zoocasa, where it really does feel like both where some of these acquisitions and also like Leo Perea, my boss, have come from starting other companies like Remind to pull together this real proprietary group of technology experts.
I think people who listen to this show are really amazed at how eXp is buying companies that they need. So they're creating everything that's needed to run this business from your front door to your back door.
Yeah, and I think looking for opportunities where it's sometimes technology, but it's often people as well that can scale to what EXP needs and let the EXP business model shine for what it is. And so often our team is looking for things that are still what I kind of view as grunt work that in agents' lives. And if I can solve grunt work with technology, I love to do that, but especially when it's something that multiplies the EXP model as well.
Right.
So Kurt, with everything that you know about what's going on behind the scenes with technology at eXp, on a percentage basis, what percentage of the company do you think is real estate and what is technology?
I mean, I don't even have a personal opinion on that. I would just say from interacting with things, I mean, everything is so agent focused, and how do we help agents serve clients at the end of the day? And so there are a large number of teams that are looking at how do we use technology to make the agent's life and the client and buyer and seller's life better. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's the relationships you all have with clients. And I mean, we're all looking at how do we, you're looking at things with coordinators and people on your own teams, and we're looking at technology like referrals. We might talk about how can we perhaps take a referral that would normally take 45 minutes and how do I make it 45 seconds? And so at the end of the day, technology companies that come forward in real estate, in my opinion, and go, hey, we're a technology first company, that's missing what the real value is. The value is your relationships with clients and using technology where it makes wise sense, and not just throwing money at technology. It's just to do something cool.
Right. But this is the first time. I'm sorry.
Gary Keller a number of years ago said that Keller Williams was now a technology company. And I don't know if that was 3 or 4 years ago. And that was because they wanted to move out of competition in the real estate firms and consider themselves technology doing real estate. And I think real estate and technology are married forever now, once that blue book disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, whether it's tools that come from the brokerage, or you may choose as an individual agent to put together things, a technology stack yourself. There is technology that is needed both to generate a lead, to keep a relationship, and close a transaction at the end of the day. Even if you're working with a coordinator, you're emailing people. That's part of your technology stack. Right. And I think it's very helpful for the average agent to think about, no matter their transaction volume, there's this technology stack, and what's the best stack of this technology that makes sense for my individual business. And so some cases that's what the EXP gives you. In other cases, you may choose to make a slightly different decision in some part of your relationship with your clients. That's up to you and your business.
So EXP, or maybe it's just the luxury division, has some um, relationship with what's it called? Presence. I don't know if it's luxury presence or. I'm just. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I do not. I do not.
Okay, so that's another website. I think it might be.
I do
Luxury
know that.
Presence.
Do know the company called Luxury Presence, and so.
Okay,
but
so
I don't
I
know
think
if they're a relationship or how that works with the.
Yeah, it
luxury.
might be a discount for the EXP luxury division. But my question is, so Showcase IDX, that's being marketed to other real estate companies, even though it's EXP owned. And is it being marketed to the EXP agents at all? Because I was unfamiliar with it.
It is listed as a EXP solution right now, and so, but it's not pushed for EXP agents. It's an upgrade for EXP agents that feel like it's the right decision for their business. But it is firewalled as a separate company, so that I mean, it makes sense as well. Like I said, when it was acquired it had thousands of customers across 100+ brokers and teams that are not EXP, and so to help protect, in both perception but in reality, the say hundreds of Keller Williams agents that choose to use that product. It needs to be run by its own team, and this wonderful woman named Tiffany on our team runs that and has continued to build that product as well. So she knows everything from marketing to sales, customer success, and leads the product side of that as well.
So if
So
I have a
I am.
KV
Go ahead. I am curious. We have people, we have agents who are watch this show, and there are several different levels of technology and years in the industry and all of that. Tell me your thought about what every agent should have and what technologies they should be using. And you can highlight your own, but there is an incredible array of things, and just sift through that for a moment.
Yeah, great question. There's so many things I love. I have not used KV Core myself. I know many agents that do. I love that from an offering perspective, in that it's what I would call an all-in-one, in that it has a bunch of different parts of a marketing stack and relationship stack, a CRM, it does drip emails, it has IDX websites, and they're all tightly integrated. I kind of compare that to that multi-tool that we might have in our car or toolbox or something. It might take to a listing appointment to tighten a screw, when something's loose there. That multi-tool is wonderful for ease. It connects everything and it's always with you. And so, but would you ever, hire 20 people to go build a new house for you and give them all 20 multi-tools? No, you're going to give them specialized tools. And so I think there very often becomes a place in a lot of agents' business where you say, hey, for this part of my business, maybe it's for my website. We talked about building your own website, or pay-per-click advertising, where maybe the offering you get with that is something you're looking for a different solution for. And so you might choose to find a different solution for that part of it. And they should still team together. We mentioned Showcase IDX. If an agent has a Showcase IDX website or iHome Finder or IDX Broker, you can connect that any of those leads to KV Core for KV Core to do what it does really well. And so I think you asked about, like, what should an agent have? I mean, it really does depend on your business. I mean, you have to have some sort of site that clients can look at listings on. Otherwise, they're going to go to Zillow. And so you also have to have email for staying connected with them. But that also means you have to have that platform set up to actually send out emails. And so I think that's the bigger piece for that's being missed by so many agents. Is it's not just having a tool like KV Core or MailChimp or something that will send emails. It's having the process in place, either you do it yourself or somebody else, to actually send out regular messages to your clients. Talk to everybody you meet and say, oh, Larry, you're not looking to buy or sell right now. That's great. Can I just set you up for some listing alerts in your neighborhood or your high-rise condo so that you can know what's going on? Very few agents actually take that step, which for me, it's less about the technology, to what we mentioned earlier. That's the relationship with you and your client to satisfy them and serve their needs. And KV Core is wonderful for that, but there's a lot of other tools that can be helpful as well.
Does MyLink, MyLead have that capability?
My Link, My Lead does not, it will drip out some emails where a client has chosen to kind of set up a search for themselves, but it is not a replacement for KV Core or your own website. It is not an email platform like you would have with any of those. So it layers on very well with those, but it does not replace any of those.
So we'll get a note, or the agent will get a notification that this client of theirs has gone to eXp Realty, and now it's suggesting that they step in and take over.
Yes, exactly, just like that. And so we're still working with it. It is an early access product right now. It's not available to all eXp agents yet, partially because we're wanting to see how we can continue building future versions of the product to make all types of agents successful. And so, having a team lead or an icon or somebody that does 80 to 100 luxury deals a year, it's completely different than, the tens of thousands of agents that do 5 or 10 transactions a year. And so, or a military relocation specialist that focuses in just one area. And so we're working directly with many different types of agents as we continue to build the product.
As you would have to, because there's all different kinds of agents and people,
And you're working on eXp Realty also. So what are the goals for the future for eXp Realty? Do you want to be competing with a Zillow, for example?
We would love for the eXp brand to be seen as many times as possible in front of somebody that's looking for a property, whether that's on Google or elsewhere. So locally, you all are the best people for that. When somebody's searching on Google, yes, my team does a huge bit of work along with the wider marketing team, because we're really on the product side, but making sure that when somebody's searching for Roswell, Georgia, open houses in Roswell, condos in Roswell, that exprealty.com does rank for those, both for somebody to see the brand, but especially for somebody to click through on that.
Okay, so let me get to my next question. I guess the big question is, the agents are going to get this great tool eventually, and I'm guessing it's going to be ready in the next 6 months or so.
I don't want to promise an ETA, only because from a product perspective,
less than 10 years, right?
Less than 10 years. It's kind of like telling your client when that
less
new
than
build
1
is going
year.
to be built.
Less than 1 year.
Yeah, I would think within less than 1 year, but I don't want to make that promise. I will say though, we do have a wait list that's available for early access right now, and it's really important for agents to sign up for that, both so they can be in as we continue to open it up to more and more agents. We only had about 150 agents using the product and helping us with it prior to Shareholder Summit. And at Shareholder Summit, we opened it up to all icons. And so that list has grown a little bit. But as we talked about, there's a lot of different types of agents with very different businesses. And so when the agents sign up for the wait list, there's literally a box. It's like, tell us about your marketing. Like, there's no wrong or right answers there, because we talked about relocation specialists, part-time agents. Like, I want to know who agents are, so that as our team is coming, bringing in more people, that I go, oh, here's 2 or 3 types that we need another couple dozen agents to help us with, so we can get raw feedback.
Yeah, and even when you're talking about luxury across the country, luxury is defined in each neighborhood by each MLS, top 10% of the properties on the market. But a luxury agent is someone who focuses on that top part of the market.
Absolutely. And even in there, a luxury agent, just even with those differences in markets, there's so many different just types of like who that agent is. Do you work with somebody that does your marketing? Spoke to an agent in Nevada. She's actually in our early access program. She focuses on helping clients buy properties with either private airfields or access to private airfields. It makes sense. I didn't even know that was a niche. And so that business looks very different than somebody that's helping people buy secondary homes and condos in Florida.
Or horse houses, horse farms.
Right.
Yeah. Which would you find in Virginia and so many other states where that's important.
You're speaking my language. So we my team and I, we go out to all of the state agent meetings. And so one of the examples I give when we're talking about what we're doing for exprealty.com, Jim, you asked about that, was like, I'm looking at that longer term buyer, and my dream is to own a horse farm. And so I grew up with horses, and I one of the examples I give is like, I went up like in October, and my wife's got horse farms up in the area, and I'm like, yes. And she was able to put up her hand because she knows what I do, and she's like, I'm just trying to figure out how and when I want to have that conversation. So that's that longer game where so many clients are, where I think it's also good for agents to think about in their marketing, and why you need to get clients on an email list is, if an agent called my wife right now, or in October, and said, hey, you started, like, can I go show you horse farms? She'd hang up on you. But but she's trying to figure out what those questions look like to be able to even know, is it a dream she wants to have as well? Or should she just say, no, we're going to keep the mountain property?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many choices that we have to make.
The eXpRealty.com website. Kurt, are you happy with the way it looks, the way it works, or are there things that you would improve, and what are those things?
Great question. I'm never happy with any product that I have. So I helped build the early technology, the foundation behind Waze and check-ins and social media products. And so I live in this brain where I see what we have today, but I see what I want the experience to look like to a user in 5 years and 10 years. And so there's a part of me that always hates whatever I have today, but it'll hate what I have next year because I'm wanting what's down the line. There's a lot to be improved on it. So some of it, though, we've made such strides since our team took over the site. It's now one of the largest sites in the country for the number of active listings. And so only behind really the big Z out there and some of their things, we've passed all the other brokerages in terms of the number of active listings that are out there. We don't have pure 100% coverage, but we have 95 to almost 96% of all active listings in the US covered. If you go to some brokerage websites, you might actually, it's harder to identify the same, but I was on a competitor's website last week and I searched for properties in Atlanta, and they had about 2,500 properties come up. I did the same search on eXp Realty and 7,500 properties came up. It's not always that big, but that's part of where we've gone from about 65 MLS.
Can you say who the 2,500 was?
I won't say who that is. So.
Was it Coldwell Banker or
that actually was not a brokerage into a site, but it's a large, well-known national portal.
Oh, okay.
But we've passed the other brokerages for that as well. I mean, our data team, we technically have 2 data teams at eXp, and they work very closely together. We all loved hearing Glenn tweeted out, I don't know, maybe September of last year, that we had passed the point where eXp is the 4th largest site in terms of number of active listings. And for people that just deal with the complexity of MLS data and IDX data, like for them, like we know we want the end result, but for them, that's the credit that they wanted to hear, and that thankfully we have a leader in Glenn.
So who is number 1? Is that Zillow?
In my opinion, it's Zillow. So yeah, Zillow and Trulia would be number 1 and 2, just because they're one data feed, one big company.
Oh, true. Okay, so 1 and 2. So who would 3 be? Would that be Redfin?
I think it's Redfin, and I only say I think that they might be number 3. We might have passed them, but there's not an easy way to tell how many listings are there, and so I always like to be conservative. So
what about a mobile app? Is there a mobile app for eXp Realty?
There's not for eXpRealty.com right now, but I will tell you the majority of visitors to the website are mobile visitors. And the single hardest thing in all technology is getting somebody to download a new app. The second hardest thing is getting them to use it after just 1 or 2 tries. And so we've really focused on making sure it's a wonderful mobile experience, regardless of how you get to that. So.
Okay, that's awesome. I was being pitched an app to buy for, I guess, any one of my websites. It could have been Castle's Luxury, but they made it a point that most people are very familiar with Redfin and Zillow, and they have sort of a similar look. So this app was mimicking that. So is the eXp Realty experience on mobile a similar, like the maps populating and all that stuff is similar?
It's
I
a,
haven't even
okay, it's
used
a
it, so-
wonderful experience that we have users that keep coming back and using it, and hundreds of thousands of people see it or use it on a monthly basis. We're never going to try to copy somebody else just because it's hard. You never want to be that follower in there, and so
A second one in.
Right. We're much more of, I mean, a lot of us come from other industries as well, myself being one of those, but Scott Lockhart that leads our team, he was a CTO of the largest Remax branch for years, based out of Atlanta. And so he was their CTO. And so we're always running A and B tests. We have Spawn in our team that actually leads the exprealty.com from a product perspective. He comes from Verizon's innovation group. And so we brought in leaders from other industries, and we're constantly testing things with users to see what's better and then making improvements.
Okay, because I gave you a few suggestions.
And I
that
appreciate
think
that.
we agreed with.
Yep.
You agreed. I
Yep.
hope they get implemented.
I added one of them at the moment we got off of our call to the product team's board. So
Awesome. Finally, do you have any tips for how agents can make sure they show up in searches for referrals?
yes. So our team also has built this new agent-to-agent referral tool for making referrals within EXP. It's powered by your agent profile. And so the key is in there is making sure your profile is actually filled out. And I say that of like, hey, we're kind of at industry averages. About 70% of agents have a photo. I don't know why 100% of agents don't have a photo, but only like 30% actually have a bio filled out saying I'm Larry and I sell homes would be a bio. That's only like 30%. Well, saying that you sell horse farms, that you help people with some of those decisions and you work in luxury, the more information like that that's in your bio, that one populates the consumer website when they're looking for it. It also powers a new agent-to-agent referrals tool internal. Right. And it also powers the search that the ISA team uses when they're sending out brokerage leads. And so it's both making sure you have a bio. And then Jim, you and I talked about the example. So many agents, when they join, they're so excited to get into EXP. And what do? I'm in Roswell, Georgia. I say, I'm in Roswell, Georgia, in my service area, and I want to fill out my paperwork because I want to get in. And I don't come back and revisit it. Well, nobody just works in Roswell. You're also going to do Marietta, Johns Creek, Kennesaw. Sure. And so you need to go back into EXP Enterprise and fill in the other areas that you work. Otherwise, when somebody does a search there, you won't show up. And
it's limited to only 10.
There is a new profile editor that's going to extend that a little bit, but we're also working on a way for you to be able to do a polygon to show within our tool. That's not out yet, but we're starting to build some of those tools in for some of those reasons.
And would you recommend like hashtags at the end of the bio for
I wouldn't
AI to pick up?
Yeah, we have an AI bio generator that we're testing with EXP agents right now that'll help write that bio for you. So Larry, you said you help people with horse farms and luxury. It'll ask you 5 or 6 questions and it'll draft a biography for you to make that easier. And so hashtags, I don't find as much. It matters more the keywords, whether it was in a hashtag or not. We're starting the ability to add in like languages spoken. Right now, that would need to be in your bio. I help people buy horse farms of this acreage, and I speak Spanish. If that's true, I want that in your bio so that we can use our tool and our search to make sure that you're discovered.
Right. And use a picture that's not 15 years old. You don't want someone showing up and seeing you as ancient when you used your prom picture.
That and it's the centering of the picture. I actually love. I love going to EXPCon and the shareholder summits for so many reasons. But they do headshots at all of these usually for agents, and so it's having a headshot. You think about it's going to zoom in, and there's some ways we may do intelligent cropping. But like when you upload your photo, go look at the public profile and see when it crops to the thumbnail. Does it cut you off here? Well, you could know that. And then upload a different photo or readjust that photo and send it up.
Sure.
So we'll make some of those tools easier. But it is when you put your bio up, go look at it as a consumer or look at it as another agent.
Right.
And then I kind of joke.
Because I did tell you there was one photo was cropped below the neck.
Yes.
So all you saw was between the waist and the neck. That was the photo.
That's hilarious.
It's always possible. That's what they wanted. But I do assume in that version that one probably was not. Somebody, an EXP agent, I saw somebody send me hey, check out this photo, an EXP agent with their partner holding a box turtle. And that was like almost their family photo. And I'm like, it was definitely memorable. And it's like, but that fits with the persona that they're sharing.
Yeah, we're slow to move, but we've got a good bite, you know.
Well, yeah, it's funny. What I really like though is whatever you choose to write in your bio or upload the photo, it's important to go look at it as another agent or a consumer would look like. And I kind of say, like, put on your glasses, put on a hat and go, I know nothing about what Kurt Uhlir knows. I've just written my bio. I'm just this new person. And then reread it and look and go, now what do I think? And then that's fresh eyes if you do it that way. It's a hard skill to master, but like you can't do it. Ask somebody you know to do it for you.
Ask somebody you know. Ask somebody you know who will be honest with you.
Right.
So that cap, does it match? It's the same color as your shirt on purpose? Or
it
just
does not.
Coincidence?
This just happens. This is my hat I keep by the desk.
Just a coincidence. Look at that.
Oh.
EXP blue. Who knew?
He's matched.
So
I can thank Michael Valdez for this hat.
Any questions we should have asked and didn't?
The only thing I would ask IFB is where can agents sign up for that for the MyLink MyLead early access wait list? And I think you have the link.
It's not going to show up in the chat online, so you just have to. Oh, it's going to be way too long.
Well, it's too long, but it'll say we're in Workplace all over the place. If you type MyLink MyLead in Workplace as an EXP agent, it will directly direct you to where you can sign up for that. Or people can chat me as well.
You could probably ask Luna, right?
You can. I think you might be able to ask Luna.
Just go to the Luna bot in Workplace chat. There was actually an agent who, I don't know, they kind of came to me. It kind of looked like they wanted to join EXP, and then I looked, and not only were they already at EXP, but they were actually on my branch office's MLS roster. And he actually popped in my office one day about a year ago, and I wanted him to join our Castles Luxury Group, and I said, I'll send you an invitation. He said, sure. And I go into Workplace. He's not there. He's already been working at the company for about a year. I said, hey, Rich, are you even in Workplace? He said, I'll check tonight. Well, that's a clear no.
That's a no. Yeah.
You know, and it's just unbelievable. There's so many agents at EXP that don't get the breadth of the offering, you know,
and aren't using it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to Jim's question earlier about like what tools should somebody be using. It's like KV Core is a wonderful offering, and so many agents they may not have set it up initially, or they haven't taken the time, and maybe it's not in their skill set to set up their drip campaign, set up the signature. It's like if it's not in your wheelhouse or you don't have time, the best like $500 you can make is there's 2 or 3 agents that are EXP that run agencies that will just interview you and set up your KV Core. Like that alone will change the trajectory of your business. Yeah. Being in Workplace, to your point, Jim, it's like they're not going to be in the community unless you're in the tools that the rest of us are.
Right.
All right.
How do people get in touch with you, Kurt?
Well, personally, I do have my own website, kurtuhlir.com. But Workplace is the best thing for anything EXP related. So that's how Jim and I connected. I spoke at a state meeting, and Jim sent me a chat right away. And so that's how we connected.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you, Kurt Uhlir, for bringing us up to speed on all the new wonderful technology at EXP. And thank you, Larry, for joining as well.
It's great to be here, Jim.
Okay.
Thank you, Kurt. Great to meet you.
And if you're enjoying this, like us on all the social media that we're on. And we'll see you next week on the eXponential Files.